Let me just give a little bit of a little picture here. I was just talking with a precious soul that I love dearly, and this darling one was having a lot of problems with connecting with the reality and the pain of this reality, feeling like this is just too much of a hard place to be, and the desire to just really go home, go back to being the light being and just not feel this immense contrast and this immense pain. So a couple of things, let's just look at these and pay attention to them. First of all, we have to be here. And not have to as in it's a great burden, have to because it is part of our sacred agreement. We said we would come, and we said we would come at the most important time. And so here we are, and we are showing up, and we are being here because we agreed to be here. So there is a sacred agreement. And in order for us to fulfill that sacred agreement, there is no ways that we were given this space, this opportunity to come in and just land upon this earth and be with all that is showing up here without all the skills. We are encoded within for every single thing that we need to experience here as a being, as a being of form. So we are encoded within for everything that needs to come through us, every awareness, every skill. It is already in us. It might not be fully awakened yet, but that means that we have more to come, more potential, and then we can just start stepping into that. So that's the first thing. We agreed, we are here, and we are encoded to do this journey. What is going to help us to do this journey is not attach into the stream of energy that is evident, that is part of this journey. The energy here is being survival energy for the human form for thousands and hundreds and thousands of years. We are going to shift that energy into thriving energy. In order to do that, we cannot succumb into the same stream of energy that is already here. To try and work in that level or that frequency, it won't work at all. Everything you endeavor and try to do will just be too much of a low frequency for it to make any difference. So that's why this hopelessness is coming in. It's like, I'm trying. Well, you're trying from the same vibrational frequency. And the way to not be in the same frequency is to not participate and not engage and not attach to the frequencies that are too low for us to actually manage in. Not just us as our own person, but us as humanity. We have got to shift. And someone has got to stand up against, away from the energy that is showing up here. This is calling for us to become accountable, to show up, make a difference. And we don't have to make a difference in a great big beating of drum and smashing of heads of people. That's not the way to do it, because that's low frequency. What we need to do is to show up and hold a different frequency no matter what, to stay centered, to stay grounded, to stay connected. This is going to require a lot of skill and a lot of determination and a deepening of our memory of who we truly are. Okay, so that's the next part. Another part is that the contrast that we're seeing at the moment, there is huge contrast. And we are noticing it in every single aspect of our lives. The contrast is indicating what it is that we get to choose away from. So when the contrasts are coming in and when you're feeling the impact of the contrast in your being, that is when we can mark this as a moment of choice. And the next thing that we choose is either to go into a higher frequency with it or to drop into the same frequency. To drop into the same frequency will mean that we are feeling like we're hopeless, that we've got to surrender, that life is awful, and what's the point, and why am I here? And that's the low frequency. So the contrast then has gobbled you up, and then you are of no effect, and there's no higher vibration that can come from you because you've attached and succumbed. So notice the contrast, pay attention to it, so that you can choose and choose something else, and choose well. choose with great care, because what we choose now becomes. So that's the other point. All right, now another point. There's a few on this. There's quite a lot, actually. Okay, but we'll go with this one now too. So as we are choosing, and as we are coming into our higher self, we're becoming more and more clear. Because of the contrast, we're becoming more and more clear. And the more clear we become, the more we are able to step out of that lower frequency that demands us to survive through the awareness and the opening of the awareness through this mechanism of this body. The body is knowing how to survive. It sends out epinephrine, norepinephrine, cortisol, floods the whole body with stress hormones that help us to react in some way or the other so that we'll survive. So while we're trying to survive here, we are activating an ancient process in our being, which means that all our sensing and all our perceiving of this world is coming through from a low vibration. So we may not be noticing that vibration and those opportunities that are available to us because we're too much engulfed in the low vibrational awareness of the body and the mind, the 5 senses of this human body, ever vigilant and horrified and terrified. That's why watching the news and being part of all this cataclysmic, miserable energy and all this, have you heard what so-and-so said? Who cares? Who cares what so-and-so said? It's of no value. It doesn't do any good to any of us. It just makes us all drop into more and more of a gathering of the same frequency. Someone's got to stop. It might as well be you. Stop engaging, stop attaching, stand up in your truth and your accountability and become the being that you are meant to be, so that you can begin to process in your body, through your mind and your body and your heightened sensory and perception, into the field of your subtle awareness. And once we are able to process there, we will not feel the bombardment through the physical form. That means we can step out of our form, having to be informed by the performing of everything else that's going on around us and through us. And that we can step into transformational awareness while still in the form. It's a huge time for us to get this right. And what's going to help us to get it right is to stay mindful and stay connected. What energy stream am I holding right now? And is this for the higher good of all beings of all life? And if it's not for the higher good of yourself and all life, disengage, drop it, make a different choice, and choose something that uplifts your energy and your frequency, like listening to beautiful music or dancing or singing or being ridiculous, or take a walk in nature, or just sit down on the ground and feel the pulse of this earth and be grateful to be here, because this is a magnificent experience and we have a form to feel it. Then the last thing I'll say on this for now, that if you are engaging this form in the delighting of this life journey, what a blessing that will be. That if we could all begin to move through this life from the perspective of thriving and enjoying and delighting through the 5 senses that up to now have been constantly holding us in heightened vigilance, fear, trapped in survival energy, we switch it to thriving and we start saying, I can thrive in this body, I can see this life and the potential of me and all life, and I start enjoying this life earth experience. And boy, oh boy, is there a lot to enjoy. So much, abundant and more abundant than that. So diverse and so glorious. And then if we all start to do that, we start to see ourselves as delightful beings in a delightful setting. We will start behaving like delightful human beings, worthy of the name. So, okay, blah, 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 lots of it. But I just wanted to share that with you. You hear, pay attention, and elevate your energy. So much love. Namaste. Heart and soul.